Hey everyone, mea culpa. I am a little bit late getting started this evening. I had a business meeting that unfortunately ran a little bit long. Um, but I am here to be with all of Michael Dale, and should be a fun night if you like maps. I'm going to be doing some maps, and we will get things going in just a second. For anyone who is interested, what map we are doing specifically, it is for the game Empire of the Undying Sun. This is a map for the Empire. I am going to get to it. There's going to be 4 color maps that people who backed will get. And this is one of them. This map is also heavily used when you get to the Empire, whenever that may be. And that part is a hex crawl, so we're doing like a nice illustratively map first, and then we're going to get over into the hex crawl after. I will eventually get around to doing that one as well. So here we go. Any questions you have, go for it. Okay. So, what makes the Empire so special? Well, there are several things. The Empire of the Undying Sun is an extremely ancient civilization. The first known records of it is in a clay tablet that was discovered by archaeologists. And it describes the capital of the empire as being 10,000 years old at that time. So, very old. The empire has existed in many forms, as far as people know. The empire itself is pretty, it is very desertish. There are massive deserts, excuse me, both to the north and to the south. And in the center lies the Great River. And this river pumps out massive amounts of water into the ocean. So working on the river a little bit here. So there are technically 4 rivers that empty into the Great River. Hey there, Robert. And those rivers are sort of the secret into the wealth of the empire of the Undying Sun. Because the capital, Firferalis, is a major trade hub where wealth from different kingdoms comes in, and sometimes it's raw materials, which are converted into finished goods. There's a lot of craftsmen in the empire, but a lot of it is just resold. So the capital itself has two parts. One part is lies above ground, or I should say, high up on the cliffs. And so those areas have the upper areas are where the royal family lives, and the wizard, and is also the location of the Black Temple, or the Black Pyramid, I should say. The Black Pyramid is the main location where the worship of the Black Ram takes place. And then there is a great waterfall that empties so much water into the ocean that it's actually fresh water. So people who live there, they have drinking water right at ocean level. And it's that lower area where like most of the foreigners go, most of the commerce is. And so next to the river, there's an area of jungle. So in the Empire, should you survive to go to the interior, you are going to face all sorts of creatures. You've got jungle cats, deadly plants, You've got ancient ruins in the desert. So lots of good stuff going on there. Oh, very nice. What kind of tool is it? Like a stencil? Sounds cool. So as you can see, I've got kind of like an underlayment here. This is, oh geez, I just saw the guy's name and I can't think of it. Map Effects. That's the guy's name. So Map Effects makes some nice pre-made stuff that you can get and use with Photoshop and Procreate and probably Affinity. They're like brushes to do like a bajillion little trees and stuff like that. I have bought that and I use that for quick previs stuff. So I just kind of whipped out a map and like, okay, do I like the way that this looks in general? And then I go from there. And then I keep it under the old light box. I'm gonna, everything I do in these maps are, 100% hand drawn, but I use that for making sure that I like the way things look overall. Ah, he followed you? Yeah, I was trying to get him on the channel, but he didn't seem very interested, so. Still, nice products though. You know, especially if you have like an at-home game. You want halfway decent looking maps, but you don't want to spend a lot of money. Here, I'll turn up the light here. So it is basic. So this is a quick and dirty map I made in Map Effects that I've been using in the test groups. So I am using this as the, to get the proportions right, make sure I like things. And then I just draw a better version here. Something, bro. Oh, I think that's it's a centimeter. What you call it? Like a little grid thing. Yeah, well, this is a Chinese-made light box, so it is what it is. It's also A3 size instead of 11 by 17. There's a slight difference, so it's not quite as large as I would like. But what can you do? What kind of light box are you using? These are actually pretty cheap. You can get one that's basically letter size. That will only cost you about. I think I only paid like $20 for that one. This one I paid a little more. I think it was like $35, $40, but still relatively cheap. So there are 4 cities in the empire after the capital Furforalis. They all sort of have different specialties. There are what's called cataracts on this river, and a cataract is an area where the rapids are too great, so you can't get a ship through there. So you have to portage, or as the French would say, portage. So basically, you have to unload the ship and either carry it across land, which nobody does, or you simply just switch. You switch your stuff into another vessel, and then it continues down the river. And this is one way that the Empire of the Undying Sun has never been conquered in battle. You can't really launch a flotilla down the river and attack the capital. There have been various battles through history, but none that resulted in victory for the invaders. That would take a long time. So this whole section of the game is kind of designed as an old school hex crawl. So it takes like at least usually about 6 months to cross this whole area. But there are people that like it that way. The Jaguar. So there are various houses, they would call them, that control different aspects of industry, and one of them controls shipping, and that would be the Jaguar. So they would not take kindly to people trying to cut their business, because every time you switch your ship, they get a cut. So there are many economic reasons as to why some of the strange things in the Empire are the way that they are. That's a good question, Michael Dale. And the answer is yes. So the Jaguar that's the house that owns the shipping. So they control that, right? It's in their interest to make sure that nothing happens to those ships, because they would be liable. So they have their own security forces. They also have trained fighters that will, security guards basically, to go on a lot of the ships. And there are other people who have private contracts. So there's a bunch of pirates in the game, and these pirates are friendly with the Empire. So they are allowed to set up patrol ships on the Great River and act sort of as private security. Yeah, thanks, Michael. I was getting a little tired of the jazz too. I don't know who any of these bands are. This is I have a subscription with a company called Epidemic Sound, and they have it's royalty free for me as a member, so I can use them on here on YouTube, Instagram, wherever, and not get copyright struck. I don't want to have the same fate as the Dungeon Delver. Yeah, you tried Epidemic Sound? I have had Epidemic Sound flag me a few times. Always when it's like, um, always when I'm like re-upping my subscription. But I just go through the appeals process and it goes through. Yeah, this AI moderation really sucks. Yeah, I agree, Michael Dale, but he used oh, I can't remember who that is now. But it's basically he had to use a composer, right? But he had that, and then that got flagged too, um, because even though the song is hundreds of years old, like some publisher of classical music flagged that. So then that's why it's a little janky because I think he sped it up a little bit and he like ran it through a synthesizer or something like that. He was telling me about it. He was really freaking out. Yeah, the whole arrow owl bear thing is BS. Um, he, you know, that's not right that they did that to him. Well, streaming's nice. You know, it's got a lot of benefits. You get to meet a bunch of cool people, assuming you're talking to them. Um, you know, and this sort of forces me to make time in my week to actually work on this stuff. So I can't really complain too much. Other than that, it's certainly not paying the bills. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question about AI songs. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. The problem number one is so far it seems like you can't copyright AI stuff. Um, so you know, if you're going to do that, does it matter if somebody else could take that music and use it? I don't know. You know, um, like I have a song I made. Geez, must have been like a year ago for the Nerd Council of Doom. That one of these days I'm actually gonna we're actually gonna have a proper intro. Um, But the other thing too is, a lot of AI stuff is just going through the courts, and they basically do steal from people. That's the thing is, with the art and everything, they're basically sucking down other people's art and using that to create their own images, which is really just copies of art. So, it's really not settled whether or not that's going to end up being legal. So, if you're using AI music and the riff comes from, they took it from, excuse me, they took it from some band or another. I mean, it's possible you'd end up liable. I don't know how that would work, but until that's settled, I'm a little leery to use it for music. Now, that being said, I have been using it for thumbnails, so, you know, it is what it is. Thanks. Yeah, I on this channel I don't really get into politics or anything like that. So it was actually the Delver's idea that we'd have sort of a group show where you have different points of view. So I think it's good. Although I think the three of us broadly agree on many things. We disagree on others, and that's good. Originally, we were going to have a fourth guy, but he was unable. So, unfortunately, he's not there. Every now and again, we talk about bringing on other guests, but then it's like, is it going to be like a promotion show where they're promoting their stuff, or, how's it going to work out? So we have not done that yet. And even on the Nerd Council, we try not to get too political unless it somehow relates to gaming. Like we'll talk about how do tariffs affect the price of minis or something like that. And oddly enough, it's funny, we kind of joke like, usually the week before a show, we'll talk on Discord like, okay, so what are we going to talk about this coming week? Just so everybody has a chance to, kind of review stuff. And the joke is, thanks to WotC, they always, at least the week before the show, they'll do something dumb that we can talk about. Are you saying WotC's come a long way in the past year? Yeah, I've got to start posting stuff on TikTok. Not that I want to, since I don't like it, but seems to be where all the kids are. On Substack or on TikTok? I kind of like Instagram, not the reels, which unfortunately is everything they want you to do. Um, for me, I just like seeing art on there. Um, I could really care less about the other stuff. My wife advertises her stuff on there. She makes like stuffed animals, things like that. So for her, it's good. Um, but I'm not a huge fan of TikTok overall. Or sorry, Instagram. Um, I don't know. It's like all those old cable channels. Remember how cool TLC and Discovery used to be? And now they're just kind of hot garbage with reality shows and stuff. They were better when they had actual documentaries. Well, what am I going to do with it? So a couple things. One is there's going to be 4 maps that get sent out with the books. And then they'll also be in digital form. They'll be colored later. And so those maps, you can show your players. There's no secret whatnots to it. It's also kind of the master map of the areas. So like there will be other versions where you'll see like close-ups of like, oh, this dungeon's here, that thing's there. So there'll be some of that. And then when this is done, it's getting turned into a hex. Let me see if I can... see if I can share this. Yeah, so this is how I'm using it in Roll20 at the moment. It is not what I would consider a great version, but it was good for down and dirty. And so you can see how it's going to be hexed. But yeah, so that's kind of where that's going. And then the are the maps loose inserts? Well, they are going to be loose 11 by 17 size. So the size that I'm drawing this map is actually actual size to what will be there. I'm hoping actually to upsize it to like 18 by 24. I don't know that I'll be able to afford it, but I will have to. But I'm hopeful. Yeah. So that is that's that. But a map this detailed doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the actual campaign guide. I've been looking at it. Something this detailed is better off by itself when it's kind of shrunk down in places. Like if I just had, if we're just looking around this city area right here, I could cut that out and it will be very detailed and it'll look nice. But the whole thing like shrunk down doesn't really work. So there'll be like a little bit of a simplified version that's a little bit more graphic that will have overlays because there's each kind of like larger area has its own about chapter. So if you say, I don't like any of the adventure, I just want to do sandbox, you can totally do that. So like, it'll be like this, but with political lines, lines for weather, stuff like that. Yeah, unfortunately. Am I going to sell or provide the setting in Roll20? Maybe. I don't know. Right now, I'm just focused on getting these books out. So I am not sure what the future will hold. I might do that ahead of the sequel, which that's several years down the line. Then there's also I want to do basically an open GL so that other people can basically make adventures in this world. So I might do some kind of, I have to figure out what that means legally in terms of licensing. So normally it's like there's the Dream Realm, which is custom to the Empire of the Undying Sun, right? I wrote all the rules for that. So you could make an adventure in the Dream Realm, but you couldn't copy all of my rules and put that into your module, So I would maybe like to allow people to use some of the maps that are for their modules in this world, but I'm not quite sure how that would work out legally. I have to talk to I got to talk to some people. Basically, I got to get a little bit of legal in there. So like one thing that won't be on this main map is like up in here, there's a hidden underground city of the Drow. So that will be on, another version that's just for the DM. But right now, I'm just working on what players are going to see. Well, that's good to know. So all that music lasted 55 minutes. Oops. I mean, there's some people who never release. So there's nothing that they can do. It does say in there that you're taking a chance. Like for the campaign that you backed, I'm a little bit behind. I had planned on having it out in October, but push that back to 2026 in the summer to get everything done at once. That's my date because people tend to be very forgiving, like up to 1 year when things are behind. After that, not so much. So I definitely want to get things out. But after that, I don't know. Matt Finch? Who is Matt Finch? I don't know Matt. I know Matt Finch, who's a comic book artist. I mean, sadly, I don't know him as in I speak with him because I do not. I wish I could get that guy on my channel. Wish I can get him to do some art for this too. Oh, yeah, it's definitely the art. Well, Matt Finch himself, the comic book artist Matt Finch, if I had to get him, I mean, first of all, I don't know if he would even do it, but if I did get him, it could be like $2,000 just for one image. But yeah, but earmarked, I don't know how much it's going to be of the. So let's see. It was around 16 grand, a little less than 16 grand from the second Kickstarter. I think it was like 2,200 from the first one. So I think 5 to 7 grand just for art. We'll see if I can stick to that. We'll have to see. Some of these guys are expensive, man. But, you got to pay if you want the quality. I actually have to talk to a few more artists. Some people owe me some work. Some people I gotta get. I don't know if you know Rob Alderman, I believe is his name. He did Gods of the Forbidden North, which if you haven't taken a look yet, I highly recommend it. It looks pretty awesome. I'm waiting on my copies. He's a good guy, but he made, I don't know, I think total, so he's got 3 volumes, and I think he's told me it was around like 1,500 pages. And those 1,500 pages, he made like 30 grand in sales on the first one. And then the last 2 were somewhere in the 6-figure range, which, is pretty awesome. So I think he said at least a third of his money went to art. How many people are working on Empire or working on Gods? Empire, well, there's me. The Dungeon Delver is working on the translation. He's taken a little break just because he's got a convention he's got to go to this weekend. But he will be back to that soon. We've got part of it done. But artist-wise, so I had Hor An Kung, Peter Gilmore, Rod Looper. So they kind of finished the parts that I contracted them out for, but I'm going to get Peter to do a few more. I've got this guy Marcins. He is a Polish artist who is living in the UK. He's done some awesome works. And I've got Cristiano Rossi, who he is another comic book guy. I've got him for 5 images. So right now, I'm mostly squaring away the larger images, like stuff that's a full page. Some of the stuff that's half page. Let me as heavy as humanly possible, Mike. I do have to be a little careful because if I Sorry. I'm just looking at this one here. I have to be a little careful because I had anticipated 450 pages, and I really need to keep it about that because once you start going over 500 pages, it has it's very difficult to get people to print for you. All right, let me. Nope, is it not gonna let me share? There we go. So here are some of the newer images. This is from Marcin's. This is Christian Rossi. Another Marcin's. And I particularly like this one, this last one here. Let me see if I can find... Christian. Just see if I can get that here. Recent downloads. So this is another one from Christian. So I think in the end it'll look pretty cool. You know, I don't want to produce this and like wuss out on the art. You know, it's gotta be good. I think if I delivered like a substandard art book, I don't think I'd ever get anyone to back me again. So if I want to keep doing this stuff, I gotta be a little bit careful. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, guys. But it is getting late, and we need to wrap things up so I can get to bed. But I will be back next week, and let's see the modules. Yeah. They're smaller standalone books. They're somewhere between 10 and 20 pages, depending. Like obviously the 5e ones are going to be a little longer, just because the stat blocks are longer. One thing is, if you have the modules, all the creatures are in there. So I don't want you to have to buy the module and be like, oh, but that creature's in another book. You know, like, no. If you buy the module, everything that is called for in there will appear in there. So that can get a little long, and sometimes the maps. So I think the Delver's Rat King, the one that Dungeon Delver wrote, or one of the three that he wrote, I think that one ended up being like 10, 12 pages. Yeah, so they're meant to be like 4 to 6 hours of gameplay. So you could run it as a one shot. You could run it as just like a one evening thing in your overall campaign. Yeah, so that's it. But thanks, guys. I will see y'all next week.